and welcome to today's virtual webinar, which is being held in conjunction with CPI Media Group, ITPS, and Veritas. My name is Mark Forker. I'm the editor of Computer News Middle East, which is the region's leading B2B enterprise and IT magazine. I'm delighted to be afforded the opportunity to moderate this morning's session, which will focus on the exponential rise in ransomware attacks and how you can protect your data across all your environments. Our experts from data protection leader ITPS and Veritas will outline in detail how you can keep your businesses protected and build resiliency against ransomware attacks. The proliferation of data is only going to grow tenfold as we increasingly become a fully digital economy. For organizations that have data scattered across multiple locations, then it is absolutely critical that they have one unified solution that protects all their data across physical, virtual, and cloud environments. Before we begin today's virtual webinar, I'd quickly like to give our attendees a quick overview of today's agenda. So, Ahmed Al-Sayed, CEO of ITPS, will give an introduction on the cybersecurity offerings provided by ITPS when it comes to both managing their data and helping its customers to mitigate the risk of ransomware attacks. Then, following the introduction from Ahmed, we will then have our first presentation, which will be conducted by Tariq El-Ridi, Senior Solution Sales Engineer at Veritas. His presentation is entitled Ransomware Resiliency with Veritas, Protect, Detect, and Recover. After Tariq's presentation, we'll then have a 20-minute panel discussion with both Ahmed and Tariq. And also take this opportunity to encourage all our attendees to submit questions and become interactive, engage with our speakers here today, and you can ask questions by simply using the chat function on your platform here today. So that's enough for me from now. So what I'd like to do now is hand you over to Ahmed Al-Sayed, CEO of ITPS, who will open today's session. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to be with you today. Thank you for attending. This is Ahmed Al-Sayed, CEO of ITPS. Actually, now I'll share my screen to start small introduction about what we are providing as ITPS company. ITPS is end-to-end system integrator company. We are providing a full solution to our customers. We are starting from the infrastructure layer till the application layers. Actually, I guess some of our attendees now is already existing customers to us, and they have some idea or some experience with ITPS. We are very specialized in technical point of view. We are providing full support to our customers. We are doing the sizing and capacity planning and the gap analysis for our customers, starting from the consultancy. Then we can provide the required infrastructure. We are always looking for the niche technology. ITPS, it was the first partner to introduce the HCI to the local market here. We started with Nutanix at 2014. And we introduced Nutanix as HCI company. Alhamdulillah, our engineers, they are very qualified and they are looking for the new technologies. We are always looking for our customer satisfaction and services. This coming through providing them the best technology with the cost. Sure, we have to consider the cost in our proposals. We have different business unit infrastructure. At infrastructure, we are providing the servers, storage, and backup. From the network, we are providing the all network and security devices, starting from switches, router, firewalls, proxy, everything. And also we have a software development unit, which have many software applications. Our applications is niche applications. They are especially with this COVID-19, we start to develop one application to make a physical security and to avoid to be many people at the same time at the same place, which is face recognition. Through this face recognition, there is no need to go to the biometric machines to make time attendance. Just you can pass through the camera and it can do the auto attendance from the existing camera. Also, we have a full cybersecurity department or unit. At this cybersecurity unit, we are starting from the consultancy and refer to the compliance and the regulation from the country and the SAMA, like SAMA and all this regulation. And we start to apply the all required policies, penetration testing, required training, social engineering, InfoSec, and all these fields.
Tarek, sorry to interject there, but just got a question for you regarding the slide you're currently on. What can you provide for your customers in terms of end-to-end security? Okay,
this is a very good question, Mark. Thank you for this question. Actually, we start to look into our customer. First of all, we do an assessment, free assessment to our customers. We start to go step by step in all the required process and policy. We will check, there is some kind of controls that has to be applied as a regulation from like ISO or CNA or whatever, any regulation. We start to go with these controllers and controls, and we will review with the customers. Starting from, are they already have the policy and the procedure to apply the cybersecurity or no? After that, we will go at each control and we will see if this control already applied on the customer or no. Then we will propose the proper solution to fix the missing controls in our customers. We are doing penetration testing, internal and external penetration testing, source code review, social engineering, and after all of this, we are hand over the full system to our customers. And also we can give the after implementation support to all our customers.
Thank you for giving us a sort of brief overview of ITPS, and obviously I know you're joining us later for our panel discussion, so we'll get into a little bit more detail about some of the things that you've just highlighted during your presentation. But for now, thanks very much. And I'm now going to hand the floor over to Tarek El-Raidi, Senior Solution Sales Engineer at Veritas. His presentation is entitled Ransomware Resiliency with Veritas: Protect, Detect, and Recover. Over to you, Tarek.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning and Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Again, my name is Tarek El-Raidi. I am the Senior Solution SE for Veritas. I hope you enjoy the session today. Please, if you have any questions, put it in the question section, and I will get back to you by end of the session. So, let's start. Our theme today is protect, detect, and recover. I especially picked that theme or these words because it refers to NIST. NIST is something that we are going to talk about. What is NIST? What kind of regulation and guidelines the U.S. government they did in order for you as Mr. Customer to help protect from any ransomware attacks. Protect, detect, and recover. If we talk about the challenges that we face these days today, we start by the cloud. 92% of the organization, they are considering cloud, but 30% of they face challenges. So you have your data center, you decided to go to the cloud, Azure or Amazon. You face challenges in the migration, you face challenges on the security part, how to make the data secured, how to manage your data, how to optimize your storage. These are all challenges we are facing these days today. In IDC, it says that around 37 to 40% of the data, if it is analyzed properly, it could lead to productivity. You can gain revenue from it. So as an example, if you know what kind of data that you have, if you correlate these data together with some analytic tool, you will have more visibility on the market. You will have more visibility on the existing situation so you can take better decisions. And this will get a huge revenue for the customers. From a compliance also, that's a very big challenge. You move to the cloud, you have your data center on premise, managing your data, know what's happening in your data, sorry, who has access to the data. These are all challenges. It's very hard for an IT environment to control. You need some intelligent tool to facilitate this kind of management on your data. Most of the data that you have, it contains, as an example, PII data, or it contains some IP addresses, it contains some critical information for VIP user. These are all data from an IT perspective. You need to know that you have this kind of data in order to manage it and protect it, or delete it, as an example. When it comes to business continuity, this is your reputation. Business critical application for your data center is something that if it is crashed for any reason, this will affect your reputation and it will affect your revenues. So this is just at the nutshell the most challenges that we face today. Of course, and we have ransomware. So ransomware, and I consider it as a nightmare. And unfortunately, I see it as when we are going to be infected, unfortunately. It's not about how, it's about when. So I'll just give you a story. And I was sitting in a company, very respectful security company, by the way. And one of my colleagues sitting beside me, his desktop, he was just working, and suddenly it was in front of my eyes. Suddenly his screen just get blocked, ransomware attacked. We need money. What the company should do? It was just in front of me, and because of the company, it had a real hard policy, backup policy. This was the only way to recover the data and to get out of that control from the ransom hacker and restore the data in just 2 days. And this was just a desktop. So most of the enterprise customer, they are the main threat for the ransomware attackers. We saw from the analysis from Symantec that 12% increase in the enterprise sector. The ransomware guys, they are not sitting here to attack or to look at the consumer. They just focus on the enterprise. As an example, unfortunately, we have Mersic, we have Mondelez. All these customers, they are very well organized data center, very well secured, and unfortunately, they got attacked. They lost millions and millions of money. Despite that, the reputation, they attack the business critical system. The whole company is affected for about a week or 10 days, no revenue, nothing. And this is an indirect cost on top of the code that you can see on the screen. So this is the main challenge, and that's the main topic that we're going to talk about today. COVID-19. And I'll just forget about all these screens. Just see this. An SMS coming to your phone saying that COVID urgent. This is by UK government. The UK government has issued a payment of this amount to all residents to help you battle COVID, and that's the link. If I was me, who knows ransomware and he was in IT for about 20 years, I would open it. I would not, if an SMS came to me from the government, why I should have a doubt to not open it? So they are very clever, they are very savvy. They use what's happening in the market and they play with the minds in order to get attacked and to pay money at the end. So how ransomware, what's the experience, how it is attacked? First of all, you, as an example, for that SMS you just click, or for an email, you just, no one knows, lack of knowledge, lack of training for the employees, he just click on the email and the ransomware gets downloaded, executed, and then spreaded across the data center. The third thing that it can spread to it is a backup copy. They are very intelligent tracers. They can trace inside your data center to go to your backup copy and then attack it. This is the first attack target, is to attack your backup copy. If you don't have a secured backup solution, unfortunately, it will go through and it will encrypt it. And then it will encrypt the production data. Once the data is encrypted and they have control, the screen gets blocked. You will, the ransom demand, pay this amount, and then you are in between. You cannot restore, and you have to pay at the end, unfortunately. So this is the journey of the ransomware attack. This is how it goes. Before jumping into what Veritas can do, I need to explain what is NIST. So if someone doesn't know, I just want to make everyone on the same baseline. NIST is a guideline that has been created by US government, that it gives the enterprise customers and the companies guidelines and regulations on how to protect the data from ransomwares. So it consists of 5 pillars. Let me grab a pointer. Identity, protect, detect, respond, and recover. So this is NIST. You can go to any website, just type NIST guidelines or cybersecurity framework, and you can read what exactly you need to do as an IT in order to protect yourself from a ransomware attack. We as Veritas, we can help you do applying NIST in protect, detect, and recover. And this is mainly our theme in the first slide: protect, detect, and recover, and how we can help in applying NIST in your environment. Rule of thumb, rule number 1 actually, 3-to-1 go, or 3-to-1 rule. You need to have 3 different destinations of your backup system. As an example, maybe headquarter, disaster recovery, and offsite. Minimum is 3. Number 2, you need to have 2 different kinds of medias on your backup copy. So if you have in your production system, production data center, you are backing up to, let's say, a backup appliance, you need to have another copy on a tape or on a disk appliance. You must have 2 different kinds of backup media. Tape is good, of course, or long-term retention appliances is good. It's good also. Third, you need to have 1 offsite copy, out of network, no connection to it, in a safe, in a location. You can have it in a cloud, you can have it on a data center or a location IP-based, but with an IP-based connected data center, the ransomware can go through it, and we can help even if you have an IP connection, and I'll explain this in the next few slides. So 3-to-1, 3 backup destination, 2 different backup medias, and 1 copy off-site at least. Focusing now on protection and recovery highlights, what we do, as you know, we have our main backup software is NetBackup. With NetBackup, we create you can have, with the backup retentions, you can have 3 different copies in 3 different locations. You can have the data between 2 different medias, disk or tape, or disk and tape, or disk, tape, and cloud. And all this is covered with a simple backup policy. We apply certain encryptions. So our system, our NetBackup, is based on Linux. It's based on Linux, and the database is based on Sybase. So this means a very secured environment. It cannot be easily penetrated by the ransomwares. We are not like the other backup solution who is based on, as an example, SQL or Windows. No, we are Linux customized hardened. I'm going to talk about that hardening part. And we apply encryption. So with our username details, username accessing the backup data, it's a one-way transaction. Only just to authenticate the copy on your disk, and no other service, only a single port to access the data. We released a new feature called immutable copy or immutable storage. And basically, you have a critical backup copy, and you want that backup copy to be immutable. Immutable, it means that it cannot be modified, it cannot be deleted, it cannot be changed. And that is a policy released in 8.3, which was released last month, that it can apply a hardened policy retention on your backup copy, a certain backup copy. Even if the storage gets infected, even if anything happened, you can lock down the backup copy from any change or any deletion. We have two different modes on the immutable copy. We have the compliance mode, and we have the enterprise mode. Compliance mode, it means that it will be locked for at least 1 year. No modification, no delete. Even if, as a backup administrator, he goes and tries to delete the backup copy, it cannot be deleted. With enterprise mode, it's less protected data. It can be deleted, but it cannot be modified. Of course, you know your data, you know your data center. You can select which data to be compliance mode and which are enterprise mode. Immutable storage and immutable copy, no change, no deletion for your backup copies. With our appliances, it is based on STIG guidelines. STIG guidelines, it follows NIST guidelines. So hardened appliance, encrypted, and we removed the operating system is Linux, and we removed all kinds of services. Only certain services is activated in order to minimize the attack to the appliance. We embedded in our appliance dedicated software in doing only intrusion and detection. So if it detects any kind of attacks or any kind of patterns of attacks that is unusual, it will automatically lock and inform the administrator that there are some unusual behavior that you face on the appliance. Also, we have to follow the two different backup media, which is the 3-to-1. We have our Access appliance, which is this one. Access appliance, it's another Veritas appliance that it can give you tapeless way of doing backup. So replacing your tape with an Access appliance to have a long-term retention on a disk. This appliance starts from around 200 terabyte and ends up in 2 petabyte deduplicated. It means that you can have at least 10 times the size that you have. Access appliance is based on warm or immutable storage. It means that the data is whatever the data is written in, it is in immutable state. So no data can be deleted, no data can be encrypted, no data can be changed. Access appliance, it's an appliance that it does not only work with Veritas, it works with any backup solution. You can put it behind a backup appliance, supports these protocols, NFS, CIFS, FTP, S3, and ISCAS. And you can use your backup software, NetBackup or non-NetBackup, to write directly as a long-term retention. It is not a performance appliance, but it's a deep, cheap, long-term retention disk. So for anything, let's say 60 days, up to 5 years, 10 years, put it on the Access Appliance, it will be secured. It is also comes in 2 controllers, clustered, active, powered by InfoScale for high availability. You can use it for NetBackup. You can use it for any other backup software, as I told you. You can use it for Enterprise Vault. So any archived data, it can be written to the Access Appliance. So it's an investment you can use it for backup and non-backup tasks. And you can use it as a NAS client. As an example, CCTV. You can put all your CCTV videos inside that Access Appliance. You cannot use it as production NAS because you will not get that good performance, but you can use it for CCTV. You don't need performance in CCTV. Also, any data that sits on the Access Appliance, you can upload the data to a different Access Appliance on a different location, or you can upload the data to a cloud. All this is available in the same appliance. If you have any questions, just put it in the panel list, and I will answer it all after I finish the session. Again, talking about the appliance, with our intrusion prevention and intrusion detection, it's a dedicated security software from Symantec, and it is used for detecting and preventing attacks. It is used to harden the appliance. It is used for integrity, file integrity, tracking, monitoring, logging. It's a dedicated secure software embedded with the appliance. There's no need for extra license, no need for anything. It comes built in with the appliance. And to be honest, we as Veritas, we are the only backup appliance that it has a dedicated security software embedded in the appliance. Okay. When it comes to business critical availability, we can make your system available in different locations using InfoScale. So headquarters, disaster recovery, you have your business critical application, financial, CRM, whatever you have, you are backing it up. But in order to return it back in case of any attack happened, in order to restore the data back, it takes time. Restoring the data, reconfiguring your database, linking it to your application and web, it takes time. So this will affect your RTO. We can help recover your any kind of system, critical or non-critical, giving you 0 RPO and nearly 0 RTO using our InfoScale. So even with any ransomware attacks, the system can be up and running in minutes, seconds, or minutes in a different location using InfoScale. InfoScale is a business critical system and disaster recovery solution that it can give you high availability, storage replication, service availability for your database, your application, your web across different computing power. These computing power, it can be locally or it can be geographically separated between different countries or different data centers. With Resiliency Platform, it's exactly the same as InfoScale, but from a VM level. InfoScale, it's an application level. Resiliency Platform, it's VM level. So VMware, as an example, VMware, they have a product called SRM for disaster recovery or DR orchestration. And it orchestrates the failover and the failback of the VMs, only specifically for VMware. If you are having Hyper-V, it has its own tool, the Hyper-V cluster, to fail over and fail back the VMs across data centers. Now, the problem with these two softwares, they are only dedicated for Hyper-V and or VMware, and they need storage replication license. With Resiliency Platform, it's hardware agnostic. It's hypervisor agnostic. It can work with Hyper-V, it can work with VMware, It does not need a similar storage between the two data centers. It does not need storage replication license between the data center. We will replicate, we will fail over, we will fail back. If we have simple comparison between InfoScale and Resiliency Platform, InfoScale, it's an application-aware disaster recovery solution. Resiliency, again, it's a virtual machine. InfoScale and Resiliency, it has automated failover and failback. With InfoScale, we can give RPO 0 or above. In Resiliency, the RPO is a minute and above. RTO is nearly 0. RTO in Resiliency is 15 minutes. We can give active disaster recovery. So financial application or business critical application that is, or booking system for any airlines like Emirates. Emirates is our top customers for InfoScale. So the booking system, when you go to www.emirates.com and you start selecting the booking system itself is protected by InfoScale, spread across 250 nodes between 12 data centers. So, and they are all load balanced, all protected and managed by InfoScale. Resiliency platform, it's active passive. So you have an active virtual machine in headquarters, passive in the disaster recovery, fail over to the passive one and fill it back when it comes online. And to announce Resiliency, let me have a pen. So give me seconds. Resiliency platform is now built in NetBackup license. So we announced in 8.3 last month that Resiliency platform, it was a separate product, it was separate license, it has its own costing. Now with any existing customer, just upgrade to 8.3 and you will have disaster recovery solution for your VMs. If you are a new customer to Veritas, you'll just buy a NetBackup license, you will have Resiliency platform built in. So with the same cost, our prices didn't change. You will get a backup and you will get a disaster recovery solution. So when we sit together and start writing the scope, giving you a proposal, we will talk about application availability, not backed up data availability. We will be able to talk to you to say that we will bring the application back in certain minutes from the backup and then fail over and then power it on and then link it to your database. We will have this built in the NetBackup license. For small, medium business, we have also Backup Exec. Backup Exec supports the 3-to-1 guidelines. You can take VMs, different locations, different backup medias with Backup Exec. The difference between Backup Exec and NetBackup, this is enterprise, this is SMB. As simple as this. It supports warm, supports immutable storage, supports all the features that I'm going to talk about, but for SMBs. It means that we have certain thresholds. If it is exceeded, you have to go to NetBackup because it will not give you the performance that you need. A lot of customers in the market, unfortunately, they neglect the desktop protection. And this is what happened to my friend who was sitting beside me. The desktop was not protected. Yes, the data is centralized in the data center. Yes, the data is, the email is protected, the NAS storage, the SharePoint, but the desktop is your main threat for any ransomware attack. You have to put a strategy to protect your desktop and laptop. And we have it also as DLO. I'm sure that all you know what's DLO. It's a desktop with a self-service, so the end user can do backup, can do restores by himself. And it supports the 3-to-1 and the air gap. The air gap is something that I'm going to talk about in just a few slides. if you are a customer who is put your data in Office 365 and you are worried about the data, before I just talk about the SaaS backup, Office 365, it protects the infrastructure that they provide to you as an infrastructure. Service availability, email availability, SharePoint availability, they all give you guarantee on the uptime on the infrastructure part. But they don't guarantee the data itself. Data itself, it's part of the contract. It is your responsibility. Yes, they have 30 days recovery and up to 90 days recovery, but after the 90 days, data is deleted. Ransomware can go through the Office 365 into your email and affects your email system in Office 365. And that's why you need to have a backup solution for your SaaS environment. So with SaaS, it's a SaaS solution from Veritas. It's a backup as a service. You purchase the same number of users in Office 365, put your Office 365 details, username and password, and the registration, and that's it. No installation, no hardware, no limitation on storage, no limitation on retention. You can back up unlimited number of data for unlimited number of retentions. And this is per user license, similar to the per user that you purchase in Office 365. It can protect your emails, OneDrive, SharePoint, Teams, Calendar, all what you do in Office 365, it gets backed up 2 times a day. Air gap is, so all of you know AIR, which is automatic image replication. Automatic image replication, it's a NetBackup software feature to replicate the backed up data between different data centers in order to have the backup copy available in different data center, single data center, or multiple data centers. Now, if we go back to the 3-2-1 rule, the rule number 1, which is 3-2-1. Rule number 1, that you must have an offsite copy. So if you have a data center here, which is the primary, and this is your backup system, you will back up, you will offload the data to, let's say, a safe. Okay? And that safe, in order to bring the data back from that safe, which is the offsite, rule number 1, it takes time. You bring the data, you put it on, read the tape, robot starts to scan the barcode, and it takes hours and hours in order to have visibility and the catalog understand where is the data in order to do restore. The better way is to replicate the data across AIR technology, automatic image replication. But with automatic image replication, you have an IP connection open for the ransomware. Yes, it can go through the AIR technology, but we have air gap. So air gap, what actually it do? It has a port on the appliance here. It is closed, certain port, and the data, it opens when you have a backup policy to replicate the data through AIR to a different location. So the port opens, replicate the data. When the data is replicated, the ports gets blocked, and it's called air gap. So you can have any kind of offsite activate air gap from NetBackup, open the port, replicate, and then shut down the ports again to give you full protection in case of any attacks. It will only it doesn't go through to the data center, to the other data center. So that's available now in NetBackup, and it's called air gap.
Tarek, sorry to interrupt you there. I've just got a question to ask you regarding ransomware. So obviously we see a lot of backup solutions in the market that have ransomware protection techniques. But what I want to know is what makes Veritas different from the other backup softwares?
Okay, so I'm not going to talk about the main products. I'm going to talk about in general. All the backup solution in the market, they have ransomware protection using two kind of techniques. Honeypots security. If anyone who is attending is a security guy, he knows what's honeypots. Honeypots, we put honeypots or virtual parts inside the backup that it is open for the ransomware attack. So when they detect an attack happen to that honeypot, it gets locked down and it blocks the backup solution, stops running. So that's called the honeypot. The second technique is the patterns. When the backup sense that there are some pattern attack is happening, it blocks the system. So, and just to give you an idea between the virus and the ransomware. Virus is an attack that happens every milliseconds. Thousands of attacks happen every milliseconds. And the antivirus is very good on detecting these kind of attacks because they are fast, they are small, and it can detect it. But antiviruses, they are not intelligent enough or not slow enough to detect the ransomware, because the ransomware attacks maybe one attack every 15 minutes or maybe do action every 15 minutes. So it's very slow for the antivirus to detect it. With the backup solution, yes, they can detect those kind of patterns. They can, from the scanning phase, if they detect similar actions happening every 15 minutes, it will block. It will send notification to the administrator and it will block. There is something happening strange here. You need to check. These two techniques is available in all the backup solutions. What we do extra, we do the same. We have dedicated security software, as I told you, Symantec security, and it's mainly for intrusion detection and intrusion prevention. We have our operating system is hardened. We have the air gap. We have the two different kind of appliances to have two different kind of medias. Okay, so we are having 3 extra or 4 extra options on top of the ransomware, honeypot, and the pattern attack.
Thanks, Derek.
You're welcome.
Brilliant.
So we covered protection and recovery from NIST guidelines, how we are doing protection and recovery using Veritas products. We are now into the final part, which is the detection. We have 2 different kind of solutions. One of them is called the APTARE. APTARE is mainly an analytic tool that it collects data from any backup solution, any storage, SAN or NAS, any cloud, and it correlates the data together using the analytic engine. And it gives you visibility. As an example, if a certain VM is in a specific storage, it's not protected by backup, or it is overprotected, or it is not working. Why it is available if it is no processing power? There are some data that has been set for a long time with no modification. Certain VMs in the cloud has some certain strange behaviors. Maybe IP spikes come up and down, and a lot more. And APTARE, it's actually it's a 2-hour session, but this is the part that it can support you in the ransomware. So it confirms if you have a critical system that is overprotected or not protected, or it has many copies in your data center. Maybe you have Veritas and Veeam and TSM as an example. And by mistake, each one of the backup is protecting the same VM. Why? In order to collect this data manually, it takes time. With the analytic tool, with the APTARE, it can give you this kind of information to give you visibility. It can sense the criticality of the data. APTARE can understand that this kind of data is critical and is not meeting a certain backup policy provided by, let's say, NIST or CISA, or let's say a database. A database, it has a lot of transactions, but you are not protecting it from a transactional log. You are taking backup for the database daily. Yes, I know, but what about the logs? One simple example, one project that I worked in, a very famous cinema chain here in Dubai. I'm a customer, I'm buying a ticket for a cert to go to a specific, any movie. Now what happened, and the company is protecting the database every day, one full backup, or 2 times full backup. But what happens in between? What about the ticket that I have in the transactional log if it was not protected or not backed up? Reputation gone. It will, if something happened and if it is restored, you will not get the gap in minutes between these seconds for the ticket booking. So with APTARE, it can allocate, it can advise you that this is a critical database. You need to change the backup policy to 1, 2, 3, 4. As an example, maybe daily full, but every 15 minutes or every 5-minute transactional log. Okay, it can help you. It can tell you that certain backup copies went offsite or didn't go offsite. It can go into your backup solution and it starts collecting data from the tape and tells you this data that you backed up, it was not exported in media and it was not imported in that tape library. So APTARE is an IT infrastructure analytic tool. We have a different tool called Data Insight, which is not the IT infrastructure, the data itself, the files. An employee left, but the user is activated and has access to a data that we as Data Insight sense that it's a critical data. Pay attention, notification sends you, Mr. Administrator, I saw an email that it has in the body IP address. Someone created, IT administrator created a folder, but someone else is using it heavily, or a file, Excel file for the finance, created by the finance or created by a specific user, but the IT is trying to open it. All these patterns, all these detection, we can trace it and we can inform you from a file level perspective. So we can protect your NAS, your SharePoint, your any file service using Data Insight. My last slide here is to summarize that we, again, as Veritas, we help you apply NIST guidelines from the 5 pillars that they have. We can help you apply the protection and detection and recovery. Using our appliances, our backup solution gives you the visibility in order to see what's happening, helping you taking copies across different locations, and make your system available using InfoScale and Resiliency Platform. Thank you so much. I hope I am on time. I'm ready for any questions if you can ask. Mark, to you.
Tarek, thanks a million. That was a superb presentation. I think you went into forensic detail on a number of diverse sort of products and solutions, and we're going to touch upon some of those in our panel discussion. But I've actually got a question from one of our attendees, and they've asked, I have the Veritas Backup Exec V21, but they want to know, how can I configure the Office 365 backup? So Are you able to help them with that question?
Yeah, Office 365 is not backed up by Backup Exec. It's a separate SaaS product from Veritas called SaaS Backup. It has a different interface. You need to purchase the license, not the license, the subscription per user from your representative in your country. And you will put your Office 365 details on the SaaS portal on Veritas, and it will back up to our cloud. So Backup Exec doesn't back up SaaS, doesn't back up Office 365.
Thanks for that, Tarek. So I think that you've answered that question fairly clearly. There's a couple of other questions coming in here, or not questions, actually just a thank you note. So I think everyone really enjoyed your presentation. So I'm just going to invite Ahmed back now, and we'll get into our panel discussion.
Okay.
Ahmed's just joining now, I think. There's Ahmed now. Yeah, can you hear us, Ahmed? Yeah.
Yes.
All right, brilliant. Look, Tarek, I just want to start with you first. So obviously, in one of your slides earlier on, you talked about the NIST security framework, and you spoke about 3 core values, which was protect, detect, and recover. But could you elaborate a little bit more on the 3-2-1 rule of backup and what that entails? I found it interesting, but can you sort of just re-emphasize that 3-2-1 backup rule?
So 3-2-1. This is our guidelines for. It's actually not our guideline. It's the NIST guidelines that we follow. 3 different copies of your backup at minimum. You must have 3. Let's say you have a SQL server. You need to back it up 3 different times at least. These 3 different copies, you need to separate it or segregate it between at least 2 different data centers.
Okay.
And the 3rd copy should be offsite. So 3 different copies, 3-2-1. 3 different copies, 2 different locations, 1 copy offsite.
Okay, so 2 different data centers and then 1 offsite? Yes,
and 3 different copies.
And 3 different copies. Okay, brilliant. That's great. Thanks for that, Ahmed. I'm just bringing you back in. So thanks for your patience. Look, I enjoyed your presentation earlier. I know it was brief, but what I found interesting, you touched upon how you were helping customers during the COVID-19 pandemic in terms of boosting their security. But can you just tell us a little bit more about that and how you actually helped your customers deal with the very real security challenges in the initial stages of the lockdown?
Yes, actually, Mark, COVID-19, they forced us to have a full digital transformation, especially for remote working. It was a challenge, and we have a very short time to fix these issues. We start to study all the environment and the critical applications for our customers. We start to have some kind of VDI to have the employees' full machines to be ready on the cloud or to can access from anywhere, from any device. Also, it was a very big challenge from the security point of view. Because at that time, the environment was not fully secured and they were not planned to have this kind of situation. We start to have assessment, a free assessment and very fast assessment to all our customers, how we can secure at least how they are connecting to their data centers from the VPN point of view, how we can secure even the end user device, because the most of the attack now, it's not coming from the data center. Data center, they are investing a lot of money to secure the data center, but they forget to secure the end user device, regarding it will be mobile or tablet or PC or whatever. We start to do some kind of documentation. We share this documentation to our customers. We start to do some kind of awareness, because Mark, the security is everyone's responsibility, not only the system administrators. We start to have some kind of brochures. We shared it with all the stuff with our customers, and I guess, alhamdulillah, we were able to make the environment ready in very short time using the VDI and with our guidance to security. I guess it was big challenge for us and for the customers, but alhamdulillah, we were able to make our customers up and running at this COVID-19.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thanks for that, Ahmed. And I think one important thing you said there is security is everyone's responsibility, and I think that's the mindset that needs to be pushed across the entire industry. So thanks for that. So I'll just go back to you, Tarek, and I just wanted to speak about another one of the solutions you spoke about, or software. I think you spoke about the integrated Symantec data center security software. But what I wanted to know, and I know you touched on it, but just if you can re-emphasize, what are the unique capabilities of that from a prevention and detection standpoint?
Symantec, it has been a security company for a long time. They are very strong in security. They are very strong in antiviruses, and they have a very strong intrusion prevention and detection. As you know, that Veritas and Symantec, we were in the same company before. We were one company. A split happened, but we took the security part, we put it in our appliance because we think and we know for sure that the security, intrusion prevention and detection of Symantec is very strong. So what actually do it, if a hacker comes, try to hack the appliance, it first of all, it detects that there is an attack happening, but not all the intrusion detection can prevent. So we have prevention and we have detection. We detect and we prevent the attack from happening. So this is the main thing. Plus, we use their guidelines on how to harden our appliance, what kind of ports we are closing, what kind of services inside the operating system that we need to disable in order to, let's say the web services of the operating system, certain user accessibility, the USB ports, all these kind of things that we took it from the security data center. It configures and hardens the appliance to match the high security from any attacks.
Right, and you're basing that from their guidelines as well. Is that what you said?
Their guidelines.
Their
guidelines. Yes.
All right. Perfect. Thanks for that. Ahmed, just bringing you back in here again, and another sort of interesting sort of thing you touched upon during your initial introduction was facial recognition and biometrics. Now, I can see obviously the security, sense and practicality in that, but there is a different viewpoint. There can be opposition towards that. People feel it sort of impinges on their privacy. But what's your overall view on biometrics and facial recognition, and is it really here to stay?
Yes, actually, this application mainly for physical security applications. It can control anyone from the organization, regardless he's already employee or visitor, or regardless his role at the organization. It controls the time and zone at the same time. Some stuff they have permission to go in certain place in certain times. Let us say I'll give a very small example, which will be easy for the university. There is students, they are attending the labs. For how you can secure these labs? These labs is you have grades, different grades with different specification, and this lab the attendees is from different grades. Let us say from 8 to 10, it will be grade number 1. With using some kind of card or for cameras, it will detect the face of this student, and it will detect this student in grade 1, and is allowed to log into this lab from 8 to 10. If he's going from 8 to 10, yes, the lab will open and it will record this student to student information system. It will be auto attendance. And for COVID-19, sure, all organizations, they have time attendance, biometric or with card or with fingerprint or whatever to prove the attendance of this stuff. It was a challenge at COVID-19 because, many viruses, they are transferred through touch of biometric machines. Our R&D staff and developers, they start to think how they can fix it, how we can ignore and remove the biometric machine from the process of time attendance. They start to make some kind of algorithms which can identify the face, and from this face he can get all the information about this person, which is student or staff or whatever. Once he passed to the camera, he will record the time which is already passed to the gate. Let's say the camera is on main gate. It will start to recognize Ahmed now he is logging at 8:30. Then at the time attendance software, it will record this time. At this scenario, we avoid all the biometric or using the fingerprint. And also we preventing to have many people standing in front of the biometric machines to make the fingerprint.
Yes.
Also one feature from this application is start to count how many people at the same place at the same time, because it's counting in and out. Let us say the maximum capacity is 50. Once the maximum capacity is, once you reach the maximum capacity, the door will be auto-logged, and there is a small monitoring outside the gate. It will say now we have the maximum capacity. Now we are working with Ministry of Health, many organizations, and they're really interesting with the solutions.
Brilliant. So you just to clarify that, you said you're working with the Ministry of Health, yeah?
Yes, for this.
Makes a lot of sense. Thanks. Brilliant. Another great answer. Very comprehensive. So thanks for that, Ahmed. Tarek, just going to bring you back in, and this is in relation to one of your earlier slides as well, and it's something we've talked about before, and it's that unstructured data, which seems to be a huge challenge. I mean, what do enterprises need to do now quickly to try and get that data structured? Because obviously, if it is unstructured, it's very hard for them, as you say, to protect.
You need to know what's inside the unstructured data.
Exactly, because obviously you could have a lot of bad data that could do you some harm. So yeah.
Yeah. So imagine if you have a store and you want to do inventory, how long it takes. So this is exactly what happens in the unstructured data. So you have your NAS storage, your file share, your SharePoint, and you decided, and before this, 50% to 60% of the data, it was not touched for the past 3 years. This has been confirmed by most of the marketing analysis. You individually, if you have a personal data on OneDrive out of the company, how long you go to a data which is older than 30 days? How often you go? How often you see it? How often you open it? And this is from an employee perspective. From an IT, they cannot take the decision on this data is important or not important.
Yeah.
So you need a tool to give you that kind of information. Okay. So you need a tool. Is the line okay?
Yes, line's fine. I can hear you fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So you need a tool that it can give the IT the visibility to know what is needed, what is not needed, what data has been changed, not changed, the employee left or didn't left, user access, permissions. You need to have that kind of tool. And this tool from Veritas is called Data Insight. Very well known in the market. We are happy to demo it to the person who is asking and take it further, how we can show information, what kind of information, what we have risk score, so we can detect that this data is critical, not critical, has PII, high IP addresses. We can help with that with Data Insight.
With Data Insight, okay. Look, I can hear you very clearly, Ahmed. Your camera froze there for a second, but it seems to be working again now, so that's fine. So that's an important tool in terms of understanding what data you have, and in terms of structuring it and taking it forward. So thanks for clarifying that. Look, lads, guys, it's been a great conversation so far. So Ahmed, I just want to bring you back in, and it's a sort of a generic enough question, but obviously ITPS, it's a market leader and has enjoyed huge success. But in your opinion, what is it about ITPS that ultimately differentiates the company from your market rivals?
Yes. Actually, at ITPS, we are always looking for the niche technology. We don't use or we don't work with legacy technologies. For example, now we are a platinum partner for Veritas. Why Veritas? I guess Tari already gave, mashallah, يعني, full information about Veritas, but from our experience, we used to work with Veritas and with other vendors.
Yeah.
And we faced many problems with other vendors, like maybe in some ransomware or some attack like Shamaun. Many organizations, they have another solution for backup, not Veritas. They already attacked for the backup attack and the data attack. And this is makes the service or the application down for a number of days, 2 or 3 days at least. The only backup software which is not attacked because it's encrypted and it have intrusion detection and prevention, as Tariq mentioned, only Veritas, which is not attacked. With our experience, we are trying to provide the best to our customers. We believe that we have to gain the trust with the customers. We are delivering the best of our experience from different customers and provide it in our proposals. We are not a vendors. I don't care to sell Veritas or other backup solutions, but to be honest with our customers, we are providing the best in class. This is from the our portfolio, our selective vendor in our portfolio also are providing the solutions, consultancy. We are doing some consultancy free for our customers, like the cybersecurity assessment. Many of our customers, they get this service as a free services. We are trying to make gap analysis to our customers. Now they are in this place and the technology going to this place. From the area of infrastructure, from the security, from applications, we try to discuss the pain of our customers, and we always have the solution for this pain.
That's great, Ahmed. Just similar, I can hear you very clearly. It's just your camera seems to be frozen a little bit. So just in case any of our attendees are wondering what the problem is, I think everyone can hear you clearly. But
you already hear me, yeah?
Bit of a latency, but it was fine. You delivered your question. But just, I want to keep you on the line for a second, just about ransomware. We've obviously talked a lot about ransomware, and Tarek said earlier, it's his worst nightmare. And he said it's not a question for companies of if, but when. So like, why, in your opinion, has ransomware become such the preferred method of attack for cyber attackers, and what can we do to curtail it? Or is there anything we can do?
That's a very hard question, and it's not a hard question, but it's a hard answer.
Yeah.
So it's mainly lack of knowledge and training. So the employee, he just opened the email because the ransomware guys or the ransoms, they know that the employee they send the email through to the employee. So the employee just opened the email. What's that link? Tick, done.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have the knowledge. We cannot.
It's an education problem.
Yes, he doesn't. He's not educated. Even if you want to educate him, what exactly you will tell him? Don't open an email with a link. What if the email comes from someone that he may know? What if what if the link was as an image, not link? So because it is very simple and easy
and subtle,
this is the easiest way. That's why they prefer it.
Yeah. No, I get it. And look, as you guys have said and touched upon, it's a very hard one, and as you said as well, Tarek, I think they're attacking enterprises because they can see that's where they can really capitalize and extract the most money. But look, guys, it's been a fantastic conversation. I won't keep you any longer. Just want to thank you, Ahmed, for joining. Really enjoyed your contributions and really enjoyed finding out more about ITPS. And I've done a couple of webinars before with Tarek, so as always, very insightful, knowledgeable, and I think you articulated your points, Tarek, excellently. And I'm sure our attendees found it very, very interesting and informative, and I'm sure there'll be a number of follow-ups after this. But on behalf of CPI Media Group and myself, I just want to thank both of you for your time this morning and all our attendees, and hope you have a really good day, and we'll hopefully catch up soon.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you.